Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adam's TV Podcast. I am your host, Adam Samuel. American Idol, our coverage of that season has come and gone. We are moving on. It is, I guess, kind of, not kindly, but almost the summertime. And the summertime comes with America's Got Talent. So we are here. We are going to be covering the season. We will be going through all the episodes. Today, we are talking about auditions week 1. Joining me for this podcast, as always, is my co-host, Eric. How you doing today, Eric?
I'm doing good. I have some thoughts on this episode of this, and mixed thoughts. There are a lot of good acts, but there are also a lot of problems, and we'll get to them, particularly with the last act.
Just as some housekeeping notes kind of before we can get into the podcast, I do want to say we did a test run of this new kind of format for the American Idol wrap-up podcast. So we got a lot of notes. We're going to be continuing using this format moving forward. I think it kind of suits our system. So Eric and I, you will be watching this when it is premiering. We will be able to kind of keep the conversation going in the chat. So yeah, let us know what you think about this format. It's a lot of fun so far. So any other notes on that, Eric?
No other notes on that. Just send us any questions you have. We answered them all in the chat last time, but if you have any more, let us know and we'll answer them on the show. How about that? So
all right. Well, let's move on to our coverage of this episode. So the last time we talked about America's Got Talent proper, we had a different host and we had 2 different judges. The biggest news kind of going into this season is that we have lost Mel B and Heidi Klum, and we have replaced them with Julianne Hough and Gabriella, or is it Gabrielle?
Gabrielle Union.
Gabrielle Union. So Eric, I want to ask, what did you think about these new judges?
I need more time. They're not terrible, but I've seen nothing that excites me about either of them, so I need more time with them.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of the same opinion. We didn't really see much from Gabrielle Union to kind of really form much of an opinion. This episode, I feel like the spotlight was a lot more so on Julianne, which kind of leads me to believe in the coming weeks we're going to get the same kind of treatment for Gabrielle that we got for Julianne. For me, I love Julianne. Like, she is, I will be honest, she's probably my favorite judge of this panel. I do like that they kind of, well, I almost don't like that they kind of focus on how they kind of are corrupting her, like to push the buzzer, which I was like, no, I like Julianne. I remember watching her on Dancing with the Stars as a judge. I never saw her competing. But yeah, she's my personal favorite. Do you have a favorite of this panel, Eric?
Still Simon.
All right. Well, one thing that I was seeing a lot of people kind of commenting on this panel is that they seem to get along a little bit too much. There's kind of a little bit a lack of the conflict that kind of Mel B kind of brought to the show, where it kind of led to some antics where she would always kind of be like in competition and kind of arguing with one of the judges. Did you get that vibe also?
A little bit, but again, it's only the first episode. We haven't seen very much of it. I don't like to make judges based on about panels based until we get to live shows, because that's when everything can go right or everything can go really, really wrong. See Steven Tyler.
I am a little worried because the Kumbaya feel kind of gives me some PTSD flashbacks to American Idol.
Yeah.
Which I hope, like, for as much as I say that the judges shouldn't be taking attention away from the contestants, I also don't want them to be boring. So I don't know. I guess I'm like someone who just can't be made happy, honestly. Which, you know what? Damn it, I can embrace it.
There's gonna be sound effects right there going ding ding ding.
The one thing we opened the show, and the one thing I was kind of taking away from it is that, correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, but did we see a snippet of that weird butterfly guy from last year? Do you remember who I'm talking about?
I don't think we did, but if we did, that's amazing.
I'm pretty sure we did. Like, I just finished watching the episode, and I swear I paused it. I'm like, one more time. Oh my god, it's the guy.
Is he back?
He will get my golden buzzer. We see him this season.
I'm glad.
All right. Well, otherwise, I do just want to mention Adam's TV Podcast is going to be getting in on this kind of golden buzzer action that the show kind of prides itself on. It's kind of the gimmick of it. So as we did last season, Eric and I are both going to be given our own golden buzzer. I need like a Staples button, like, the that was easy button. And that's going to be like my golden buzzer for this season. But Eric, did we get an act this week who might have gotten your golden buzzer?
Nope.
No golden buzzer from Eric. Neither from me. I'm going to hold on to mine for this year. We also got the return of Terry Crews as our host. Are you a fan of him? He does his job. Like, he doesn't bother me, and that's exactly what he needs to do. Do you think he's going to get a golden buzzer this year?
Of course he is.
Yeah.
They have 9 golden buzzers a year now. 4 for the judges, 1 for the host, and 4 for the guest judges during judge cuts. That's their gimmick. They split the hell out of it.
Yep. It's just how the show kind of is at this point. One thing I did note was before I did watch a couple of acts on YouTube because I went to bed early last night. So I woke up this morning and I watched like a couple on YouTube, and then I finished watching the show literally just a couple minutes ago. So one thing that really stuck with me is, do they have a new person kind of running the YouTube page? Because the titles are noticeably more terrible than they usually are.
You will get there. There's one in particular that for the last act, the original title they went with, they changed it about this morning.
Defeats.
I swear to God, okay, time for my rant. We're gonna get it out of the way early. How about that?
All right. Well, then let me just kind of introduce this contestant, because let's kind of just talk about him first. So this was actually the closing act of the night, but we are going to be talking about him first. It is kind of the big headline and the takeaway of this episode that I think for many people he's going to be the one that people are talking about. It is Kobe Lee. He is an autistic singer/piano player, and he's also blind. And the show kind of brings him out. He's with his mother. It's kind of, this whole segment is kind of built as the classic America's Got Talent kind of gripper. It's the sob story. There's gonna be a really talented person. They're gonna have a really, really emotional story. And Kobe performs by the piano a song for you. I think is that the correct song?
Yes.
All right, and that is all I'm going to say on the matter. And now, Eric, what did you think of Kobe Lee?
Well, Cody Lee, first of all, was great.
I'm so sorry.
Oops. It's okay. Cody was great. Great voice, great song choice, love her performance. I have no issues with the performance or him at all. I have issues with everything that happened before and after the minute and 45 seconds he performed. So, first, Howie's comments were as annoying as always. You're such an inspiration. You're so inspiring. This whole audition was verging on what people in the disability community call inspiration porn.
The purpose of these images is to inspire you, to motivate you, so that we can look at them and think, well, however bad my life is, it could be worse. I could be that person.
What really annoys me about this is that America's Got Talent and Britain's Got Talent in the past have been really good about this. And this, I don't know what happened this year, but this was a mess. This was like the music, all of the judges' comments were, like, most of the judges' comments were about his story, and like Simon, who's the only one who talked about his actual talent. So that's why Simon was my favorite judge by default. He's the only one who said the talent was great and the vocals were great. Gabrielle Union didn't even talk to him before hitting her golden buzzer. She talked to his mom, and I'm like, he's a person. You could talk to him first. I mean,
and he's a very talented person also.
Yes.
Like, I will say, like, first of all, I apologize for I must have wrote down in my notes Kobe instead of Cody. I'm sorry. But me as an outsider kind of looking in who doesn't live the kind of life that he does, first of all, I just thought his talent he was a solid singer. I don't think he's the best singer, but he's, by America's Got Talent standards, he's pretty good. For me, I enjoyed the singing, like Eric said. The thing is, towards the end, once he finished singing, I was getting the vibe like, okay, you're laying it on a little too thick. You're kind of not the talent, kind of the judges and the show. Like, I was like, you're overbaking this. Like, you're making it kind of more than it needs to maybe go. And then the slow-mo as the golden buzzer was hit, it's like I came away thinking it could have been you needed to dial back a little bit the show.
lot.
What did you
Yeah.
think?
Agreed. And the other thing was, so the original title they uploaded was on YouTube, which is what pissed me off, and I was gonna be on a much longer rant unless they changed the title, which thankfully they did. The original title they went with is Cody Lee defeats autism and blindness with music. I don't curse on the podcast usually, but fuck that. This implies that autism is something to defeat, that blindness is something to defeat, and I'm on the autism spectrum. I work for a disability rights nonprofit. This was offensive to me, and I'm thankful that they changed it. And then I scrolled down on the video on YouTube, and the comments were painful. Like, I have a coworker who happens to be a wheelchair user, and I was showing him it, and he started banging his head against the wall. It was painful for him, and I'm like, yeah, it's painful. I loved Cody, but I was really disappointed with this, and I'm annoyed.
This video, I feel, is getting so much traction. I think Oprah Winfrey commented it.
Ellen did. All of them are.
All these people, and I think the biggest thing is they're all kind of focusing on the story and not so much the fact that he's a very talented singer. Which, I don't know. Do you think that was kind of the narrative that's kind of maybe getting lost here a little bit?
Yeah. But the annoying thing about it is that because we know it was a Golden Buzzer video, because we know it was going to go viral, that's what pisses me off about it. If it was just a regular video that no one was going to see, I don't care if I don't care as much. But everyone's seeing this. It's #1 trending on YouTube, 5 million hits already, and it's reinforcing all of these bad stereotypes, and I'm just mad about it. But hopefully they'll fix it in the next couple rounds. I guess. But what gives me hope is that Lost Voice guy was on Britain's Got Talent, America's Got Talent. They handled him perfectly. So I'm hoping that they can do better, I guess.
Do you think Cody has a shot of winning?
Yeah, I do actually. I think Cody has a decent shot of winning.
All right. Well, I enjoyed his
music. Not
music.
much of one, but I'd say a slim chance. It depends on who else we have.
For me, I would put him of this night probably in my top 3. No, definitely, yeah. He's solidly in my top 3. Do you have any kind of final thoughts on him before we kind of start rewind and go back to the beginning?
No final thoughts on him, but do better, America's Got Talent.
All right. Well, let's we're gonna rewind. We're gonna go back to the start of the show, and we're gonna start going through the contestants. I just want to say also, while I was putting together my notes, I usually format it where I put the contestant's name, and then in parentheses I put what they do. So let's say there's a singer, there's a magician. There's a couple of times this episode where I literally put in the parentheses question mark.
Yeah.
So I just had no idea what was going on. And the first person kind of fits into that. He was one of those 2 people. It was Greg Morton. He is this. He's been around the block. He kind of talks about how he worked in voice stuff. I don't even know it. He was like a voice
effects type thing.
Voice effects kind of thing. He had his face on a van, I think he said, and he does voices. That's kind of his shtick. For his audition, he starts saying lines from Star Wars in the characters' voices. And I just wrote down in my notes, this is very ridiculous. What about you, Eric?
So my thing is, this is one of the ones I watched with my cousin next to me, and because he was there with me last night. Not too bad, but the thing is, he was actually way less impressed than I was. He's a Star Wars fan, which is helpful for this act.
I'm a Star Wars fan too.
Well, I'm not, so
Shame.
I know, thanks. But I watched it with him, and my cousin was like, "I don't get this." I'm like, and I think he figured out what the problem with it was better than I could, which is that there was no story involved. It was just impression, not strung together. It was just impression. And I couldn't watch it for more than the 2 minutes that I watched it for. I'm done with it.
I agree. It's just, there's no substance here. It's just kind of like, it's like parroting words. Like you're just kind of.
Oh, exactly. And the thing about it is that I've seen impressions that I've really enjoyed. This was not one of them. And it's just like, And by the way, the show labeled him comedian, which is wrong because nothing we've seen
I don't
so
think he
far.
was a comedian. He's like a.
The show labeled
That's
him
why
as
I put
comedian.
down question mark for him.
You're right, because you're more accurate than the show was. Because I don't know what he was. And he wasn't a comedian because nothing was funny about it, but hopefully something can be funny about it in the future.
I'll be honest, I would have probably buzzed this act.
I wouldn't have buzzed it, but I would have said yes, but I would have said yes with a condition that you better step your game up next time.
It's what this act is. It's a fodder act at best, and
100%.
at worst, it's gone next week.
It's the equivalent of a chicken playing piano.
Yeah, the judges really though like overpraise it, and he ends up getting 4 yeses, which does give me hope that if someone doing this can do 4 yeses, then me somehow doing something can maybe get me 4 yeses too. Maybe I could do like a half.
Did you see on Britain's Got Talent the guy did the hand farts and got through to live shows?
I only watched like 2 acts on Britain's Got Talent this
There's
week.
a guy who literally did hand farting noises to music, and he made it to live shows.
Simon Cowell's TV show, ladies and gentlemen. All right, well, let's move on to, in my opinion, probably the other big takeaway from this episode.
Yeah.
First of all, I will say there's not many takeaways from this episode, but I think Eric Chen, who is a magician, is very, very much one of them. Right off the bat, the thing that kind of the comparison that everyone is making is that he kind of does the exact same shtick that Shin Lim does. And I will say, his backstory is he was in the Taiwan military. It's very similar to Shin Lim, but it was still very good. Very good. Still, it kind of had me thinking like the demon quote that I would talk about Shin Lim. Like, he's a demon. He does magic. What did you think, Eric?
Okay, he's really, really good. He's also a ringer. He was on Asia's Got Talent. Apparently, he was the current world champion of close-up magic, which Shin Lim was the former champion of close-up magic. So he's not as good as Shin Lim, in my view, but he's way closer than he had any right to be. And the thing about it is that it really sucks that he auditioned the year after Shin Lim won twice, because what it means is he has no chance in hell of winning. But if you waited a year or two, he might have had a shot, I think.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that the show just kind of decided to paint him as like the Shin Lim kind of archetype. Like, they say his name, and I feel like the fact that they did is going to do more of a disservice to him than a service
100%.
kind of moving forward, because
100%.
his entire arc on this show is now going to be in that shadow, trying to live up to him. And I feel like that is something that was thrust on him that he probably could have really benefited from not having it. But that's kind of.
I will say the problem was, even if they didn't mention it, it would be the elephant in the room because everyone will remember. Hey, Shin Lim won the show twice last year, so everyone's gonna remember that.
Eric, do you think we might have back-to-back magician winners on America's Got Talent?
No, I forbid
it. Well, he's not getting Eric's golden buzzer, so.
I will say, of all the people of this episode, he was the only one I was even thinking about it for. But yeah, because he's not going to win, because Shin Lim won last year, I can't give it to him.
As good of a magician as he is, the one other big takeaway that I had from this audition is as he gets the 4 yeses to advance, they start playing the American Idol song from last season, like the theme song that they were using by Banners, that I actually think they had like perform with, I'm going to say this name and you're probably not going to remember, Ron Boltonges in like top 20 week of American Idol. Like the theme song of the premiere of American Idol on ABC started playing behind him. I just thought that was really funny.
Okay.
All right. Well, otherwise, any final thoughts?
Nope.
All right. Well, let's move on to Sophie Pecora, who is a name I immediately recognize because I follow some of Shane Dawson's YouTube videos, and he is one of the biggest YouTube creators, I believe, on the platform. And he kind of did a whole, 2 episodes of his kind of vlogging series about this singer. I think he flew her out to his house and she started performing. I don't know if I'm remembering correctly, but I remember her name. As soon as I saw her face, I was like, that's the girl from Shane Dawson's channel. And for her audition, she performs an original song. It's called 7th Grade.
What do they want? This is a trick, this is a trap. I can't go on, hide in the bathroom till they're gone. No way someone would actually want me.
What are your thoughts on this contestant, Eric?
She's cute. She seems nice. Not necessarily my thing, but yeah, good.
She is very planty. Like,
Oh, I didn't know that going in, but now that you mention it, yeah, very, very, very planty.
I could. The thing is, I'll be honest. Like, everyone from this episode felt very planty.
Of course, well, that's America's Got Talent now.
Yeah, that's what the show has become. But I feel like the show is just screaming. Like, I was watching this, I felt like the show is screaming at me, "You must like this girl. Like, she is going. You gotta like her story is like emotional and like she's begging like the viewers. Like, I could feel her hands like ripping out and like you have to start rooting for me." And you know what? I think from this audition, she is going to get a lot more fans. I didn't like so much that they kind of glossed. They didn't even really mention so much that she's kind of a big YouTube singer. Like, she's got a fan
You're right.
base.
They didn't mention it deliberately. They didn't mention it.
Like, they talk. I think that she mentioned. She's like, "Oh, I posted a video and like when I was just starting, got like 80 views." I was like, "Come on." But yeah, I think I was not so much a fan. She kind of is what this kind of new age of singers is, where they both sing and they rap kind of at the same time. It's kind of very.
The rapping was the worst part of it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was not so much a fan of it. But I think that's kind of going to be what we're going to get from the singer kind of moving forward. I will say she's not my thing, but I can see why people are going to root for her. She is going to have people. I think she's got a pretty solid shot of making finale night, honestly.
Tend to agree.
Yeah, she's singing about things that a lot of people unfortunately will relate to. And yeah, she's not a terrible singer. She's just not my thing. And
Exactly.
But I think there will be people who will like her.
Very well. I think she has a very good shot at making at least top 20.
All right, well, let's move on to the only act this episode that I think was highlighted that got a no. His I don't even know how to describe this. He is the other act of this episode that I just put a question mark for his identifier of what his talent is. His name is Monkey. He comes out on stage in a dress and he starts dancing, and Julianne like very calmly like tries to let him down, like to like putting the dog to sleep. Like, it's like,
wow,
it's okay.
Wow. I thought when I said that last time, the kind of thing to do for more episode. I thought that would be the last time anyone mentioned euthanizing a dog on this podcast. Thank you, Adam.
But I was watching this audition and I was just thinking, is this a real person?
See, there's lots of hair. You could probably even braid my back.
It's like, I don't even know what was like. This doesn't seem like. I'm convinced that this is like a production assistant that they like dared. They're like, "Hey, you want to be on the show?" Like, maybe they were having a party the night before. And one of the producers was like, "Oh my God, I have an idea. You're gonna dress up as a monkey." And you're like, this was some kind of inside joke. Of course, it's terrible, and he's the only act of the night that kind of gets a no.
Yep.
But I did enjoy it, I will say.
Okay.
All right. But otherwise, did you have any notes on Monkey?
I literally did not. I forgot that it happened.
All right. Well, then let's move on to
which, to be honest, is very impressive that I forgot something like that.
How do you really forget that?
Exactly. I don't know.
I'm just thinking, like, that's someone like that could have been like anyone on the set, like just someone who is.
I think you're probably right. Okay.
Like Simon Cowell is having an inside joke. All right, but anyway, let's move on to Patricio Ratto. I think I'm correctly saying his name. His intro package kind of talks about how he is a piano player, and he is not just a piano player. As he starts performing, I think it was a Mozart piece. Am I right, Eric? I think it was. Yeah. He kind of does the piano playing, which I will say, as someone who is learning piano and has been learning for a year, he's very good. Like, he's very good. But the act kind of shifts, and he leaves the piano and he starts doing a lot of robotic dancing, which was pretty good. But for me, first of all, the edit, not very kind to him. They kind of paint him as this kind of clueless foreigner, which I really didn't like. I think it's a really cruel thing that America's Got Talent kind of does to these people. And they kind of downplayed his talent of just the fact that he's a piano player. And they kind of took what was something really talented and kind of turned it into one of those moments that Simon Cowell just absolutely is salivating over, where they can go, oh my God, what just happened?
Here's the thing, actually. I think I was falling asleep with the piano because I've heard piano player. He was good at piano, but he wasn't like spectacular. And then when he started dancing, I'm like, wow, this is actually impressive. So I feel like the judges were about to buzz him before he stopped the piano part.
I disagree. I really like the piano playing.
Watch it again and look at Simon's face. And Simon's face says, I'm about to buzz you.
I don't know. Well, Simon Cowell knows what's going to happen. Like,
yes, but yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't get behind this act because it's just, it seems so like made for TV to be those surprise moments that, as kind of someone who watched this show with a little bit of a cynical lens because of how much Simon Cowell has kind of ruined my hopes over the years. But it was solid. I think he definitely deserved to move on. But yeah, I think now that the surprise of his act has worn off, now that he's kind of fallen into that situation that a lot of acts kind of do on the show, where they have like the bucket of talent and they kind of just pour it all over, and now there's kind of nothing left for them to do kind of moving forward, and they kind of are just left to flounder. Do you agree, Eric?
I do. When Bucket of Talent's title episode.
You know what? I can't disagree. Do you have any thoughts on Patrizio otherwise?
Nope.
All right. Well, let's move on to V.Unbeatable. I think, is that correct? That's how
The letter V.Unbeatable, yes.
How do these people come up with their names for these? Like, over the years, we've seen so many dance troupes come through. And first of all, I would never have any, if my job was to name names for dance troupes, I would have no idea. Like, how do they keep coming up with these names, Eric?
I don't know.
All right, well, go on.
But they do.
All right, well,
they do it.
This group, they have a very pretty big sob story. I think they were like raised in the slums, and they kind of put together this act. They're dancers, also, I do want to say. What did you think, Eric?
I think they're pretty great. Not my thing. I couldn't watch it for more than 10 minutes at a time. But for now, they deserve to go through.
I am of the opinion that I've watched, as many of you guys know, I've watched a lot of America's Got Talent. I said Eric's Got Talent. It would have just been Eric doing this. But I've watched a lot of America's Got Talent over the years, and I have seen.
I have a new episode title.
Eric's Got Talent. What would that look like, Eric? It would just be Eric like looking at Simon, and the judges are going. All right. Well, like I said, I've seen so many dance troupes kind of come and go over the years on America's Got Talent, and I believe at this point there's a checklist for these acts. Checklist number 1, they need to have a sob story. Checklist number 2, there needs to be some kid who can usually cry on command on camera. Number 3, they need to be moderately talented enough that they are going to likely make it to top 20 round and then likely be cut there. Do you agree, Eric?
Well, considering I'm the new host of Eric's Got Talent, I have to agree.
Every time I mess up my words, that's when we get our episode titles.
Well, Bucket of Talent was almost gonna be it, but that's irresistible. I'm sorry.
Hashtag Eric's Got Talent. I don't think this is a journey that's going to last very long. I think they're going to make it through 1, maybe 2 rounds, and then probably be cut in the first half of the finale.
Seems like it, based on how certain acts get featured and certain acts don't. I think they're probably not going to make it very long.
All right. Do you have any final thoughts on them?
Nope.
All right. Well, let's move on. The thing is, we've only got 3 more acts to talk about this episode. Like, it was a 2-hour show, and we got 10 contestants. Like.
But we got a lot of those 10 contestants, which is good.
All right. Next up, we have Jackie Fabulous, who is one of our comedians. There's one other act who's kind of a comedian, kind of a singer, but Jackie Fabulous, her audition was kind of leaked leaked on YouTube ahead of the episode. And she has her story. She's from the Bronx. She was married. Her family is Jamaican. They wanted her to kind of have this ideal life. She graduated from law school, and she said that she used her law degree to get her divorce because she wanted to pursue comedy. And you know what? Good for her. That's all I will say. But the tagline of her audition video on YouTube is kind of promoting her as kind of this really, really funny comedian. I don't remember the exact words, but it was kind of like you won't be able to stop laughing or something, some very clickbaity title. And I clicked it ahead of the episode, and I wasn't as impressed.
Get a bunch of fatties and lock them in a donut shop. The first one to not go into a diabetic coma wins. That's the show.
What about you?
Well, she's funnier than Vicky was last year. Low bar, but she's funnier. I think if she's the best comedian they have, a comedian's not winning this year. But I didn't hate it. I didn't like it that much, but I didn't hate it.
I wanted to like her act so much. Like she seems
so,
so likable. She's like just exuding confidence and like personality. But I feel like I'm like gonna be sounding like a broken record at this point. But I'm gonna get on my soapbox. And I think that comedians on America's Got Talent, there needs to be a rule for them. They need at least like a 5-minute set. Like she got like 3 jokes out there. Like it was not even 2 minutes. And I think the show is doing such a disservice by kind of nailing down this time frame for all the contestants when I think
except for magicians.
Exactly. I think each act should have a time allotted to it based on the category it's in. If you're a singer, you get a 2-minute song. If you're a dance troupe, you get as much time as you need. If you're a comedian, 5 to 7 minutes, I guess, is how many you can need. But the rule just kind of the show just breaks these rules, their own rules, kind of for the acts that they're kind of really pushing, like the magicians, like Shin Lim. Shin Lim got like 7-minute performances last season. And I think
I was not complaining about that at all, by the way.
I know, but that's because he was your favorite. And I feel like for the other contestants, it makes the show less fair.
Agreed.
And I'm preaching to the choir. But what else? What other thoughts did you have on Jackie Fabulous?
Jackie Fabulous is a fabulous name. Especially the only
Do you think that's really her name?
Are you really asking me if Jackie Fabulous is someone's name? Of course it's not her name.
Maybe Ginzilla is actually their real name.
God.
All right. Well, there's only 2 more acts. Wow, we were blowing through these. Next up, we have Ginzilla, who I will probably be honest, this was probably my favorite act of the night. On a personal note, but what about you, Eric?
Well, this act was on X Factor last year, apparently.
As a X Factor?
X Factor UK 2018. Ginzilla auditioned for it, and I totally forgot. Too gimmicky for me, but it wasn't awful, I guess. What I'll say.
Yeah, correct me. This is just explored. We don't really know kind of what we are supposed to refer to. Him, her, them. So I believe
Ginzilla.
They are. I think they're gender nonconforming. So I guess the correct pronouns are they, them, theirs. So we are going to
George's Ginzilla. You don't have to use pronouns.
All right, we'll just call them.
We'll call Ginzilla.
That sounds like a chinchilla to me. Like I think of that chinchilla Pokemon now.
Okay.
All right, but Ginzilla is a drag queen / singer. I think that is Ginzilla a drag queen? Is that the term? Like
I think.
All right. Well, first of all, Ginzilla was reminding me very much of a name that Eric, I don't know if you remember, Scott Hireman. Do you remember that name? So Scott Hireman was a bearded comedian who showed up on stage in like a dress, and he broke down during like the judge cuts, like started crying during his set, and he was one of my favorite acts that season. Like he was really funny, and Ginzilla was kind of doing the similar kind of thing to what Scott Hireman was doing. In Ginzilla's intro package, Ginzilla describes themselves as a cross between Jessica Rabbit and Chuck Norris, and yeah, seems about right. From the intro package was kind of pointing out. But when Ginzilla ends up singing, the voice is kind of very full. It's kind of very like husky, and I kind of wasn't expecting it. And Ginzilla does this thing where they kind of
walks off the stage, and walks back on.
Simon, call me. I love you so much. See you guys soon. Thank you so much.
Why is he leaving?
Oh, no, she's not.
Which I will say made me laugh the first time, but the second time I was like, is that the only joke? Like,
what, they did it twice?
They did it twice.
I fast forwarded through it. Oh god.
But I really enjoyed this act. Like it is a rarity on what America's Got Talent for me to actually laugh, like at a comedian. Ginzilla got me to laugh, and that is the last time that happened. I believe was Leo's Shemtov last season when he was doing the ridiculous magic tricks.
Or the Human Fountains. I like the Human Fountains too.
I don't think they got me to laugh as much as those two, but
I've never laughed at the Human Fountains. Sorry.
The fact that Ginzilla got that laugh out of me, I'm a fan.
Great.
Do you have other thoughts on her? I'm sorry about
I
the
don't
pronunciation.
know. No other thoughts.
All right. Well, let's talk about our final act of the night. The Human Fuse. He is this guy. His wife, I believe, is a nurse, and he is a danger act. And we get one of these every single season. It's kind of the same shtick. He was shot out of a crossbow. Am I correct, Eric?
I don't know, but I will say that setting yourself on fire is not a talent. It's just stupid. That's all I have to say about it.
Will there be danger acts on Eric's Got Talent?
Eric's Got Talent will not have danger acts.
What kind of acts will be on Eric's Got Talent?
It will be exclusive acts named Eric.
On Adam's Got Talent, there will just be, I don't even know, piano players.
Okay.
Otherwise, Human Fuse, these acts are all the same every year. It's all build up and kind of no payoff. The act is kind of, they interview them. Oh, isn't this dangerous? Oh, look, they're ambulances. Oh, you could die doing this. Oh, and then everything always works out fine. And
except for the one time it didn't.
When was that?
When the guy got shot in the neck with a crossbow.
And they brought him back. Which, by the way, we didn't even get to talk about that. I'm just realizing America's Got Talent, the Champions is coming back. What's going on there?
I don't know. What are they going to do? I mean, unless they just have all the winners and runner-ups from all the shows in this year, that's the only way they can really do it as far as I'm concerned.
It's just going to be a lot of that guy who does the voices.
Yep, it's gonna be a lot of. Eric's Got Talent will only run once a year.
Eric's Got Talent will get better ratings.
It will only run once a year.
All right. Well, I guess those are all the episodes. Not all the episodes. All the contestants. Eric, if you had to give this episode a grade, what would you give it?
The talent, I'd give it a B+ overall. If I'm rating the show as a whole, I'm gonna have to downgrade it to a B-.
I give it a B-. There's not that many takeaways from this crop of talent. The show kind of left me going, like there's no one really here that got me so excited to kind of keep watching this season. But I'm hopeful. It's only episode week 1. Hopefully we have some good stuff moving forward and not a whole bunch more of Yummo dumps. And I swear to God, if we see that guy in the caterpillar outfit,
you guys are going
getting my golden buzzer. I'm saying it right now.
Oh, but we can animate. Like I can actually digitally put in the golden buzzer.
Ooh, like I could press it down like on the screen.
You'll hit your microphone and then I'll do it. Yep.
All right. Well, any other things America's Got Talent you want to talk about, Eric?
Nope.
There's very little content in this episode of America's Got Talent. I'm going to be traveling for the next 2 weeks, so I am probably going to be filming these episodes at very ridiculous times. So if you see me kind of like with thick bags under my eyes and looking like I'm dying inside, it's just because I'm up at 4 a.m. to film these episodes. But I will still be here. I will still be working I'm actually going to be flying to LA. I'm going to E3, which is very exciting for me. I go every year. And yeah, hope you guys will keep watching our America's Got Talent videos. I want to say that I am Adam Samuel. You can find me on Twitter at AdamSoapbox. I run my 2 websites, AdamSoapbox.com and AdamCVVlogs.com. Where can we find you, Eric?
EricAscher.com, EricAscher01 on YouTube, Eric_Ascher on Twitter.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us for our recap of America's Got Talent Week 1. We will be back next week. We hope you'll join us then. Until that next time, peace.